Well, first now, the controversy about $400 million. You remember the foreign currencies that were flown in on a pallet to Iran in an unmarked aircraft before Iran then released hostages that they had taken. Then we learned there were two more payments to Iran. They totaled $1.3 billion, again delivered in foreign cash currencies. Now, reports that the real number, now see what we've done here, we've gone from 400 million to 1.3 billion or 1.7 billion in total to now more than $33 billion, that's right, delivered to the Iranians in cash, again, foreign currencies, and gold. That's according to a new report from the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. And joining us tonight on that organization's, findings, senior counselor and former Cheney National Security Advisor, John Hanna. John, great to have you with us. This is absolutely an incredible, in the full sense of the word, an incredible series of developments to learn that a president of the United States is dealing with the world's leading state sponsor of terrorism in cash, in the currency of foreign nations, and for the life of me, I can't figure out how he got a hold of the money.
Yeah, and totally untraceable, of course, Lou. Any drug dealer or terrorist can tell you that the way to go is cash, because nobody will catch you as you engage in all kinds of nefarious activities, from funding the likes of Hezbollah to, of course, this incredible ballistic missile program that Iran has got that they want to eventually aim at the United States.
What do you make of a president who says to everyone upon all of the reports, when we learned then that there was a contemporaneous, if not an instantly simultaneous transfer of the hostages that the Iran had taken and the $400 million in foreign currencies in cash delivered to them? The president denied there was a ransom. He denied that there was anything new about this development, when in fact it's all new to the American people, isn't it?
Absolutely. The fact that he hid all of the most important and sordid details about this deal from the American people and their representatives in Congress just underscores how rotten this deal was from the beginning. If the American people had known that we'd sent cash to the leading state sponsor of terrorism in unmarked bills in the middle of the night on a plane that was probably connected to Iran's Revolutionary Guards,
right,
they would have been outraged, and no doubt Congress would have taken steps to try and put a stop to it.
Where is Congress in all of this? Are they truly the impotent institution that they now appear to be? They call for hearings. They send letters to people, including the President of the United States. They don't get responses, and they don't get results from their investigations. What is left of Congress as a co-equal branch of government?
Yeah, no, the balance is completely out of whack now, Lou, and it is very dangerous, especially given this administration's instinct.
Why doesn't anybody talk about it, John? I mean, it's staring us in the face. We have not an imperial, we have an imperial presidency that has unchecked powers, with the possible exception of the Supreme Court, which right now is at least delayed an executive fiat against the that had stopped the deportation of as many as 5 million illegal immigrants. But that is just simply held in abeyance. It's not resolved.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the Supreme Court is not, of course, not an elected branch of government.
Right.
We've got a Congress that is supposed to be a co-equal branch of government that has a serious oversight role over administration efforts to act that are contrary to the Constitution, including in foreign affairs, and it's just not playing that role at the moment.
And what role will this government, whether the executive or to bring along Congress, what will it do in response to the provocations of Russia, of China, whether we're talking about the Black Sea, the Baltic, whether we're talking about the South China Sea, or whether we're talking about, suddenly the appearance on the part of Iran that they are moving straight ahead with the development of a nuclear bomb, despite the release by this administration of $150 billion to them.
And don't forget to add to that, Lou, the fact that we had a fifth North Korean nuclear test today. Right. Not to mention last week they fired off 3 more medium-range ballistic missiles. This has been an awful week for U.S. interests. Just underscores how weak and feckless they see this lame duck administration as being. They're going to continue to push and to probe in increasingly bold and dangerous ways, and that's the way that countries get into war. When U.S. deterrence begins to break down and unravel, as it has under this president, things become very dangerous, and there's no fixing it until we get a new president, and then it's only going to be at a higher cost to the American people to restore our deterrence.
Well, it's going to be a higher cost in some ways, but perhaps a much lower cost in others, in the most important ways, in the loss of greater treasure and certainly the loss of lives, because a modest foreign policy that George W. Bush spoke of in 2000 when he campaigned for the office, that upon assuming he was anything but modest, we're talking about right now a nation that is almost $20 trillion in debt. We are watching our military emasculated, whether by the civilian leadership under this presidency or whether it be by the lack of resources as a result of the sequestration that this Republican Congress and Senate agreed to.
Yeah, no, there's a huge rebuilding task that the next president is going to have to do to try and figure out how he rebalances America's role in the world and tries to correct some of the enormous damage that I fear has been done.
How frustrated are you with a national liberal media that goes after the Republican nominee because he returned a compliment to Vladimir Putin, and they act as if he had just created a fifth column in the United States? Can the national left-wing media get any more puerile, any more just outright silly in their coverage and their analysis?
Listen, I'm no fan of Putin's either, but the fact is that if you look at what this administration did, and they did it with Secretary Clinton in power in terms of that absolute tragic failure of the Russian reset, you just hope that the media would give at least equal time and attention to that instance that really affected U.S. policy and U.S. interests around the world.
John Hannah, it is always great to have you with us. We thank you so much for your insight. Appreciate it.